Good morning, buongiorno, buonasera. We have two very special people with us today, but let me start from the beginning before I introduce further Alessia and Melania. For some of you who are here for the first time, I would like to mention that Esperienza is not your usual travel company. We are building a community here of people who are fascinated with Italy. And they would like to go deeper beyond stereotypes and really focus on the people. And we start with a region which we know well. I lived in Romania. So people-centered company, travels that bring you so much closer to the enigma of Italy and fascinate you. This is a community where people get so excited to continue exploring the region that they come for a third time with us. This is very unusual. This is the opposite of the bucket list, where every year you want to go to a different place and just continue exploring superficially. It's about really falling in love with the region and with its people. And this is what happened to me. I was one of these travelers who wanted to see the world, to see all architectural monuments, all museums, until I discovered Romania. And I've been going there since year 2000. And every time I am surprised, inspired, and becoming more creative because I get in touch with extraordinary people. And I can enjoy the beauty also of a place like Sant'Agata Feltria, where we're going today. If you like fairy tales, there is no better place. It's enough just to take a look at Sant'Agata Feltria and start dreaming. But there's so much more besides the picturesque landscape and the village. And today we'll do this with the help of a very interesting human being that for me represents what I dream is the future of the area. I hope places like Sant'Agata Feltria will keep being alive, and they will even flourish in a future where technology will allow us to live in places that we love, in smaller communities, which are much more humane than the big metropolis of nowadays. So enough of me talking. Let's find out where Sant'Agata Feltria is and travel there. Yes. So to get there, we have to, of course, fly to Bologna, and from Bologna, take a bus or a car and get in the heart of the Apennines. And it's good to have a guide like Alessia, with whom you'll be able to talk soon. But Sant'Agata Feltria, yes, it's in the heart of the Apennines foothills, and it's part of our Cammino. I say our because I've been dreaming about it, and because I walked on it with the help of Alessia. Alessia is a professional guide who accompany us on the Cammino of San Francis of Assisi. This is a pilgrimage, a special pilgrimage that it is especially meaningful nowadays, that San Francis of Assisi will be celebrated next year, the 800 years of his death, and he deserves a special event. We'll talk about it, but no other saints is more modern nowadays and more needed with his values and with his appreciation for environment and the less privileged and the animals. So I would like to give opportunity to Alessia to talk a little bit later, but let's start with Melania now. So as Karen mentioned at the beginning, Melania is a video game maker. She's a young entrepreneur. She started her company with a special purpose to bring new energy, to bring life to her small town population, 2,300. I would like to ask Melania to tell us a little bit about the history of this town because she cares deeply. She's one of these people that didn't leave. She could have jobs perhaps anywhere in the world, yet she has chosen to be there, and not just to be there, but to give new life and to celebrate the traditions at the same time. So I'm really full of admiration for what she's doing, and I hope more young people will follow in her steps. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your place, your birthplace, Melania. You have to unmute.
Okay, yourself. Yeah. Here I am. I just now connected the dot. Perhaps I should unmute myself. Well, you're really, really kind, and I'm really amazed to be here to talk about my job and my town. And well, yes, as Anna kindly said before, I am a video game developer. I am also developing a game about Romagna traditions right now. And perhaps when we will come to Sant'Agata, I will show you something because actually it's a very secret project. You cannot see it. But yes, in this kind of towns, in these small villages, we have some troubles with young people that want to go away from here and just the elders stay. So it's kind of a mission to try to balance the situation, try to make people stay here, try to tell them that they can do whatever they want to do thanks to remote working and the actual technologies. So yeah, I try to be an example, but it's still really hard, in fact. But I will be very, very happy to welcome you if you will decide to come in Sant'Agata, because it's, well, of course, it's the place where I have many great memories, but also my family is really, really connected to this place because my parents, as volunteers, had made the Museum of Rural Arts come up to life from basically a ruin, just a bunch of rocks, because they made an interesting project. Its main purpose is to preserve the memory of our ancestors, and also to create a community that can support the elders and keep these ancient memories in the mind of the youngers. And oh my God, that's a picture of me. Okay. Um, yeah, this is the museum, and the museum is also a point in which you can find a community that can help you if you live here in Sant'Agata. For example, the volunteers organize themselves to bring the elders to hospitals if the children cannot do it for them because they have, I don't know, maybe they have too much work to do, or they simply do not find time for many reasons. There are people, volunteers here that keep people, they help each other. That's the main purpose of the community. And since my parents were from between the people that bring this community up to life, I feel kind of involved in this situation, and I could breathe by myself, the passion they had for this mission, more than being a guide. And so I think I will be really glad to welcome you in Sant'Agata Feltria, which is really small town. It's hard to get lost in Sant'Agata, simply because more or less wherever you are, you can always see the castle on the top and use it as a point to find your position. And the castle is really, really beautiful. Is now filled up with this installation, beautiful installation with fairy tales, and that is because well, during the Second World War, the furniture inside was burned to keep the people warm during winter. So we don't have many historical furniture, but the fortress is still alive, has been restored to its ancient beauty, and now today it's a museum of fairy tales. So if you want to study fairy tales and their let's say their meanings, deeply meanings, what they wanted to design into the mind of childs, what kind of morality was written between those lines. Well, it's a really beautiful museum. I recommend you. And of course, there is a really beautiful theater that I could describe it to you, but it's impossible to give the vibes, to give you the vibes that this place gives to you once you go there. And if you want, since this theater is kept alive by volunteers, if you want, you can see what is scheduled during the next month to see if there are operas or concerts or, well, it depends about how good your Italian is, because they won't be in English, but you can always find a proper time to leave it, to really leave it. And yeah, if you want, since it's opened during the evening or the afternoon, you can try to do your own opera over the stage, if you think you can.
Yes, I think Alessia is very good at it. But I just wanted to mention something because I am totally fascinated by a specific part of the history of this theater. And maybe Karen can show us the picture of Vittorio Gassman. For if among you there are people who have been interested in theater or Italian cinema, then you may remember the name of Vittorio Gassman. Vittorio Gassman is one of the most, if not the most important Italian theater and film actor of the 20th century. He's famous for his Hamlet roles and others. Extremely talented. He also was subject of bouts of depression. And with age, it became more difficult for him to handle depression. So in 1992, he was looking for a project that will pull him out of depression. And he found it in Sant'Agata Feltria. He came to this theater and he fell in love with it, the theater that you just saw. And he decided to perform Dante Alighieri's Inferno there. And the performance was so extraordinary that it was recorded by Rai, the Italian TV, and you can actually see it. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning performance of Dante. And when Vittorio Gassman was interviewed about this, he said something that really stuck with me. First, he said that he felt like archaeologist when he discovered this theater, because it's such a jewel that he didn't expect to find out. He didn't know that Romagna, the area where we go, Romagna has always been, people have always been very passionate about theater, as there is no other region in Italy where every single village almost has a small jewel of a theater. But the best is in Sant'Agata Feltria, and this is why he decided to perform Dante there. And he said another thing that also stuck with me, and I wanted to share with you. He said, when asked, "Are you still experimenting?" By the way, he was 71 years old when he did this. The journalist said to him, "Are you still experimenting?" And the answer was, "Of course I'm experimenting. It's perfect. It's the right time for experimentation and for joy at 71. So I would like to really, for you to remember that in Romagna, experimentation and joy is everywhere. And by the way, Melania is an actress as well, and she can tell us a little bit about it as well.
Well, now that you mention it, I hope you won't ask me to act on the stage when I will bring you around Sant'Agata, okay? That would be a little embarrassing. Well, no, I will be prepared in case. But I will need partners, so get ready, okay? But yes, I've been an actress, an improv actress for three years. And I went to the tandem school in Cesena. And well, now I just decided to take a little stop from that because I simply had too many things to follow, and Cesena is not exactly close to here, so it was you know, always 40 minutes road to arrive to Cesena, do the lessons, and then come back to Sant'Agata once per week, and it started to begin to be well, a little hard after all this time. But I consider it this one just a little stop before I will just start again. Improv theater or some different kind of theater place. So, well, I think I could recommend you to do it because it's really funny. If you want, we can try to do it when you come here after the tour, okay?
Well, with Alessia and Melania, it will be easy. But Sant'Agata Feltria is famous for more than just the theater and the fairy tales and the art. I mean, actually, Karen showed some of the art. I wanted you to also remember that there's plenty of art there. And I especially like something made by Tonino Guerra. How it was called in English, I forgot. But it's a mosaic. The snail. There's the snail, and it's a mosaic. It's a giant sculpture, which is a mosaic. And consider this: 300,000 tesserae pieces have gone there. This is a village, population 2,300. It's full of art. It's full of treasures to be discovered. But one of my favorite is the food. I love truffles. So let's, with the help of Melania, let's explore the food now.
Okay, yeah, we have really many people coming here in October during the truffle fair because it's really popular here. And well, the town is popular for three things mainly: the truffle, the cheese, and the mushrooms. And except the cheese, of course, the other two depends on the rain, the weather in general, and so there are some years in which the truffle has a fair price, and other years in which it's incredibly high. And it depends if you want the dark one or the white one. The white one is the most precious one, also the most tasty, but we consider that a truffle of these dimensions is around 2,000 euros. So it's a little bit. And yeah, the truffle is clearly an occasion for the town to have tourism, have new people coming here and see the beauty of the town. There are people that come here year after year, and they did not had the chance to see everything. For example, every year they come here and they first see one year they see the castle. The next year they see the fountains of the place. The next year again they will see the museum of rural arts and so on. So it is an occasion for us to be noticed, in fact. And there is also this competition in which if you have dogs, of course that can find truffles, you can see these people going with their dogs in the woods and try to find the truffles. And there are of course prizes if you find the bigger one, the highest number of truffles, or the white one. There are two animals that are usually used to find the truffle, and one is the pig and the other is the dog. Clearly, the dog is the most recommended for a very simple reason. If you say stop, it stops. The pigs, no. The pigs has a little trouble in stopping if he finds something that he can eat, so it's usually it's more common to find the dog in the woods. And I really recommend you to try the truffle if you did not. So we will immediately put you in one category between two, which is the one who likes them and one who does not. For example, in my family, we are like splitted. My father and my brother Giulio absolutely don't want to know nothing about the truffle. My mom thinks it's nothing special. Me and the other two brothers are completely crazy about it. So we will see which side you will take. But also the cheese. The cheese is also an historical part of Sant'Agata because it's called the formaggio di fossa. This has its name because it is preserved and refined underground in these holes surrounded by rocks. And then they close it and they kept him for months to stay here and become older, basically. And then they just, after at least 6 months, they bring the cheese out. And well, in those days, everybody in Sant'Agata knows they open the cheese because, the smell is around, you can feel it. And if you like cheese, you absolutely will love it, I think. I have a cousin that lives in Pittsburgh that she often tells me to bring a piece when I go at her place. She's crazy about formaggio di fossa. She loves it. And I have to say that I understand her because I love cheese.
Well, at this point, I would like also to ask Alessia to take part in the conversation, because without Alessia, it would be impossible for us to offer this incredible journey on the Cammino of San Francis of Assisi, Cammino di San Francesco. Alessia, you're also in Romagna, but not in Sant'Agata Feltria, and you're getting ready, I imagine, to meet us in April.
Buonasera a tutti. So, the first thing that I have to say that it's my English, it's terrible. So, we just, how can I say, know to each other to understand each other, but slowly will come out again. I will have the pleasure of accompanying you during this Cammino. I would say wonderful Cammino. It's wonderful because, okay, it starts from my house, Rimini, and we walk through the center of the Apennines. So it's the landscapes will change really every day. And another wonderful thing is the people we meet during the journey. So, okay, landscape, history, work, but people of the place, like Melania or Enzo of the the theater of Sant'Agata Feltria, or Angelo of the Convento di Santigna nearby San Leo. So during all the trip, we meet every day, each day, people of the place. And this, I think that it's the, how can I say, the highlight of this Cammino. Another, yes, the Cammino needs required training. I mean, every day, more or less, we have to face 13 miles, more or less, with 2,700 feet of height difference. Is okay for you about the number and the height difference? Okay. In 2 days, we will reach 3,300 height difference. So this makes you understand that it's very important in order to enjoy the Cammino and not to think, oh my God, my hips, oh my God, my knees, oh my God, my feet, to arrive, to try to arrive a good train. Just I wanted to, yes, tell these things because a lot of people thought, okay, we start from the sea, okay, sea is the beach, there are no mountains. No. We walk through the mountains, so that's why it's very important to arrive trained to. In this way, you will enjoy the Cammino, okay, and you don't have to think hips or feet or something else. We are in a region, I think that you have understand, Romagna. I said in Romagna we eat good and we drink better because also the wine is very nice. Doesn't matter if black or white, but it's very nice too. So during the evening it's important to have a nice dinner and to drink a good white or red or white wine, so altogether. What else? Maybe you have some questions to do. Curiosities. No, see, no, maybe yes, maybe no.
Yeah, it's a very interesting experience, the Camino, and I personally would like to share some of it as well. I got plantar fasciitis on the first day, and it depressed me tremendously because for years, for around 5-6 years, I was dreaming about doing the Camino. And I had no idea that plantar fasciitis existed. Even I had no idea why I cannot walk. I also had new shoes, brand new shoes. So there was a combination of lack of experience and luck, I think, because I trained, but with different shoes. So anyway, it's a good idea to have maybe 2 pairs of shoes. Don't go with brand new shoes. And remember that even if you encounter a problem, you'll never be left alone. This is what happened to me. I decided that I cannot walk anymore, and there was immediately help. I was taken to the nearby hotel, and I rested, and I recovered, and I continued later. Not immediately, but I continued, and I enjoyed the Camino. So we decided actually to introduce a special new service for the Camino. We're going to have a little shuttle that will be moving with us, so that you'll not be really struggling in case something happens. And you'll still be able to enjoy Romagna to the best of your abilities, which I did. I met a lot of people, and I visited with local artisans on the days that I couldn't walk. It's also a spiritual experience, and it brings you closer to what's important in life. And as Alessia said, there's nothing like meeting people and being when they arrive, but also nothing better than being with nature alone and just dissolving, feeling like none of your small problems exist anymore because you are witnessing so much beauty. And of course, it helps tremendously that they stay at tele with various types of mushrooms all along the road, and wonderful wine. So you feel inspired on all fronts, I hope. And I invite you also to take a look at the life of St. Francis of Assisi and consider what it means to follow in his steps. But let me open it for discussion. We have plenty of time, so feel free to. Oh, there's a question already. Wonderful. Melania, it's for you.
I fear that I will have many questions. It's not properly a fear. Okay, Sant'Agata means Saint Agatha, like the saint protector of the town. So it is really common to find the little towns that have the name of a saint here in Italy.
And
Well,
I seem to
I don't know
recall
if
there's a story about Sant'Agata, and I'm going to look for a picture because I believe after we left the sanctuary, Alessia, maybe you can remind me, when we went to a little ceramic studio on our way leaving the Santuario, there was a statue of Sant'Agata there. Is that right? Yeah, you're muted, Alessia. Maybe you remember the story while I look for the picture. You can
Yes,
tell it's kind of a gory story, but yeah.
Sant'Agata is the girl. We are around if the date is okay, 5 or 6 century after
I confirm that.
It's okay, Melania, more or less.
Yeah, I think it is. You're right.
And this girl, because it was a very young girl, she was from a very rich family, but she was tortured by cutting off the breast. Breast is okay, the word?
The
Okay.
breast, yeah.
Yes, because the family obviously wanted that the girl will get married with another rich man and not be closed in a convent to be a sister, no? So this happened a very terrible thing. That's why when we go in a church and there is a Sant'Agata, the picture, normally the statue is the girl and she has got in their hands a plate with her breast.
Here she is.
Yeah, exactly. See.
And so yes, that's her plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I know you have more questions, so don't be shy. I'm waiting for this.
And we also have a couple of people who are
It
with us.
was last week. It was the celebration of Sant'Agata.
Yeah, because it's in the 5th of February. So
Exactly.
we had some celebrations, and in that day, the bakery here creates these little round shaped bread that remembers a little bit, yeah, very tasty, yeah. And it remembers a little bit the priests. So it's a way to honor the sacrifice of the saint. So we usually go to the church, we bring these little pieces of bread, we have them blessed by the priest. Then when we go to lunch, we kiss the bread and then start to eat it. Yeah, perhaps this is something that I did not told you about Sant'Agata traditions.
This tradition is nice to find in 2025 this tradition in these little towns.
Yeah, I think sadly it's the only place, those little towns are the only places where you can find them still, or in the books, but it's not the same.
So we have a few people who have hiked the Camino with us today, Deborah, and I don't know if Art's still here. Art, are you still here? Yeah, there you are. I don't know, maybe you'd like to share a memory from the Camino, from your own perspective.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Well, first of all, I remember the picture. Hi, Leslie. The picture of the playhouse in Sant'Agata Feltria brought back memories, which were just wonderful. What a beautiful place it was. What a stunning sort of venue in such a small town. It's just not something growing up in this country you're used to. You're used to seeing these types of venues in much larger population centers, but it was beautiful. And I remember the truffles. I went in the fall trip, so it was truffle season, and the abundance of truffles and people sort of hunting for truffles and truffle related dishes in the restaurants were just a wonderful memory. And I guess two more observations. One is the natural beauty of the entire Camino was stunning, and the connection to the land and the people we met along the way was just made it very special. And part of that connection is, as was alluded to earlier, is Alessia and her experience as a guide, as well as a her connections to all the people along the way. I mean, she knew all the farmers, the priests and nuns and townspeople, and even the names of the pets of the farmers, I remember. So that really made it special for those of us who were part of the tour to just feel very connected everywhere we went to people and places. So it was really a very special experience.
Thanks, Art. Something you said sparked something for me. Yeah, the theater itself, it is so small, I think it seats less than 50 people. And when we arrive in Sant'Agata Feltria and we stay at this hotel, and it's a pretty large hotel for such a small town. And I asked the hotel manager or owner, you know, who stays there? And one of the groups that comes to their hotel frequently is orchestras and musical groups, because the acoustics in this small theater are so amazing. It's all wood. And it just has a very, I can't describe the sound. I'm not a musician, but it feels warm. It feels kind of almost muted. It does no echo. It just absorbs into your body. The sounds do. It's a very special place in that regard. So there are a lot of very amazing musical performances in this little tiny space. I felt like I was in one of those movies where Amadeus is conducting and the king is sitting in the back and the court is just there and that's all.
Yeah, by the way, I just found out in January that this theater has been nominated to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site, together with another theater, but the two theaters are nominated. So it's truly represents the value. And again, the intimacy of performing there, I highly recommend that you look into Vittorio Gassman performance there. Just one actor on the stage and the whole universe of emotions.
So there's another question. I think it's a really good one. What is the connection of the Camino to St. Francis?
Yeah, maybe Alessia can tell us.
Sorry, make again the question.
The connection of the Camino to St. Francis.
San Francis, after the come si dice, la conversione, after leave the old life and take the new life, I mean, following Jesus, he walked around Europe. He walked in the south of Italy, in the north of Italy. He went to the Sultan in Egypt, Egitto. And so he was a guy, because he was young, was just 25, 26, because he wanted to know the difference between the culture of the Italian, the Christian religion, and the other one, and he was the only man that really was good received by the Sultan in Egypt. So this is a very big thing, because other people went killed, other people have no chance to visit the Sultan, but San Francis, yes. So it means that it was a very special person, no, with his character and very charismatic, I mean. In our Camino, we have when we are in San Leo, when we will arrive in San Leo, we have the document. It's still conserved in a museum in San Sepolcro. We have the document that in San Leo, San Francis received the Mount of Laverna. The Mount of Laverna is our arrival at the end of our Camino. What has happened in the Mount of Laverna? In Laverna, San Francis received the stigmata. So he was not only one time in Laverna, but he used to go there many times during his life. He was a place, come si dice, il posto del cuore, a place of the heart, no? Because Laverna, now when we will be there, it's how can I say, there is this big convent, very nice during the day with a lot of people, but at the time of St. Francis, 1220 more or less, it was just a very wild mountain with a little village, Chiusi di Laverna, but it was not near the mountain, and no one wanted to go up to the mountain because it was full of wolves or dangerous animals. So for Francesco, for St. Francis, this Mount of Laverna was the best place to stay with himself, to pray, to spend the time. He said inside the heart of the world, because in Laverna there are a lot of mountains and you can go inside like a hole, no? So for him it was a very special place. So we can see along the way a lot different things that will speak us about the life of San Francesco. But in San Leo, really, we have the document of this donation, no? When Francesco received, like a gift, the Mount of Laverna.
And the whole Camino, along the whole way, there are sites related to his life and you know, Franciscan chapels and convents and different you know, just things devoted to places that he was when he was walking around and being with the people.
Yeah.
If I may add something personal on the story of Laverna, I mean, Karen and Anna already know this, but you all, I think, you don't. The sister of my grandmother left Italy and went to overseas because her husband, who was also from Italy, went there to find a job, you know, during the Great Migration. And after a year, we were about to lose the contacts with this family overseas. And years later, my uncle went there for the first time and established again contacts between our families. And the granddaughters of this woman, of my grandmother's sisters, had this little white cross who had inside some little picture. And when we went to Pittsburgh and finally meet them for the first time, we find the tickets in which this woman had traveled, and we find the letters that she used to wrote to my grandmother, and we find this little cross which had inside the pictures of Laverna Sanctuary. If you could just look across the light, you could see this little picture of Laverna. We made some researches, I was all the time just looking across the cross, and I was drawing the picture I was seeing. And then when we came back to Italy, we managed to see it was the Laverna Sanctuary. It was a really moving moment.
Wow.
I felt like I should share it with you because it was really great.
Thank you.
Che bello.
Grazie. Spero di non piangere.
Deb, would you like to share any special memories? I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, when hit at this migration of my grandmother's sister happened, we risked to do not have any more contacts with our cousins, and thanks to my uncle, who was the first one to start the traveling to go back to find the roots of this family, we are still in contact today, and those cousins from Pittsburgh sometimes come back here in Sant'Agata, and I am a guide for them. Okay, that's why it will be my pleasure to do the same with you all. And the first time I went to New York, there is the St. Helens Island Museum. I don't know if someone of you have ever heard of it, but well, of course you are. You're not in Europe, you are in the Americas. But I find it really moving that that family, that part of the family overseas, has paid to do some research to find my aunt Agostina and her husband, to find the documents, and they had made their names written in the museums. So I had the experience to find between all these names, the names of my family. It was really, I don't know how to explain it. It was really, really good. A very moving moment, how we can split families, you know, during time, during histories, but they will find a way to get together again.
Wonderful. We had a similar moment on one of our language trips. We went to a very, very small town called, I think it's called Maiolo.
Yeah.
And we were visiting there and seeing some of the local history, and we had a chance to have a performance by the Teatro Trove, the other improv group in Cesena. And long story short, one of the women associated with Teatro Trove started talking to one of our students, and they found out they had a cousin in common.
Oh my God.
And this woman the woman in our group had been looking every time we went someplace. She's like, I'm looking for names on mailboxes to see if my family's here.
That's great.
So
That's great.
Yeah, there's a question about the hike. On average, how many miles do you walk per day? Alessia knows it more in kilometers, but having done it myself a couple times, it's anywhere from 13 to 15 miles a day. Generally, there may be one day that's 16. But yeah, they're long days.
And that's why it's very important to dress no new shoes.
I think Deb can attest to that, even though she bought the same shoes.
And have a good, the bottom has to be very good sculpted. I mean, no, you understand, the grip of the shoes has to be a good grip. Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about the condition of the trail? I mean, is it groomed? Is it really rocky? Are you climbing over things? No.
We have everything. I mean,
Let me
because
be,
yes,
let me
no.
interrupt, because that was my concern. How much of the time do you want to have your hands free so that you can go backwards downhill?
No, not at all.
Never.
We
Okay.
have just walk.
All right.
So we don't use nothing to go ahead, only walk, and we just need our legs and our feet.
poles.
Okay, so we only have to walk, nothing else. But you have saw the miles and the feet, and the Cammino sometimes is rocky. The last day, for example, because we have to cross the Apennines. So over there we will find some pieces with rocky trail. We have also asfalto, che si dice asphalt. I mean normally road.
Mi trovi impreparata.
Asphalt. It's okay, the word asphalt, you understand?
Asphalt, maybe.
Sì. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
for example, when we go out from Rimini, because we start from Rimini. Rimini is a little city, so we have to go out from Rimini. The first part is on asphalt, so that's why it's also a good idea to take with you two shoes for walking. One pair for maybe shoes more soft. I mean, not a really mountain shoes, mountain boots, more soft to do asphalt and to when we have a trail, not very difficult. And another pair of shoes, maybe mountain boots, for example, if when we have to do the last day, when we have to cross the Apennines, and maybe if I hope no, if we have some rainy day, okay, because with the mountain boots, it's always more comfortable to walk instead of the normal shoes. I mean,
That's
But-
exactly what I did. I brought kind of a trail runner type of shoe that has more cushion in it, and I used that the first 2 days, maybe
Yeah.
3, and then I
Yes.
switched to my boots the second, on the second half of the tour. And I do want to make sure we mention that trekking poles are highly recommended, even though we're not climbing with our hands. It's very helpful to have
yes,
poles
trekking
for
boots important, very important.
stability
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I would definitely second that one. I've done a lot of hiking in mountains and really don't use poles much at all. But where I found it really almost necessary or totally necessary here was because of the rain we had.
mm,
And maybe you won't have that in the spring, but with the rain, there was a lot of mud, and there were some places where you were really using the poles to brace yourself so you could walk along an edge on the side and kind of have the pole off to the side, or some places where we were going down a slope and it was just pure mud. If you didn't have some poles to kind of put in front of you to brace, you would have just slid right down. So I think if there's rain, it's a pretty necessary item.
mm.
Yeah.
And if you slow down, I just want to say that if you slow down, if you fall down, okay, you will be muddy, that is sure. But
Yes,
there are no
that's all you'll be
cliffs. But there are no cliffs. Okay,
No,
you will
no.
stay there. You will be
No.
you will
Yeah,
be
no,
muddy.
yeah, a lot of different conditions, but nothing that's really problematic. And I mentioned earlier, maybe when some people were not here, that a poncho, forget the poncho. Forget the poncho. I had a poncho and it worked really well when we were walking on the flat and because there was such heavy rain. But as soon as we started going up any hill, you can't see your feet. The thing is hanging out in front of you and you need to see your footing for things. So
See,
had to
a
take it
good, a
off
good, a
and
good,
got
yeah,
very soaked.
a
Very
good rain jacket is suggested. Yeah.
yeah, but you need some good rain gear, pants and a top. I didn't have pants. I had a top, but no pants. And I agree with all the things Art was saying about the towns and where we stayed was all the places were just wonderful. At the end of the day, and the food. I really liked the landscape and. Any questions you would have, Alicia knew the flowers, all of the little things we were seeing, and I just love the views. And I remember when we were getting up into the Apennines that she said once, "Welcome to the mountains," and it was the forests are just incredible. The beech forest, my photos, it's really hard to get a feel for how big the trees are. I have some photos where if you look close, you can see just these tiny little people off in the distance or that put it in perspective. And then later the fir forest, it's just a wonderful experience, such a different landscape and those wonderful views into the towns in the distance. And she was always able to point out what we were seeing off in the distance, these towns that either we had been to or would be to that were down there, and tell us a little history about little other settlements we would see about what happened there during the war or other times. So yeah, lots of stuff, a lot of good stuff. Yeah, that was an amazing sight coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Sant'Agata Feltria arriving from the previous town. So it was a beautiful day and the sky was just incredible. So there it is nestled in its little spot.
Yeah, I would for some people mention something about blisters. I was starting to get a blister the first day, and I was had a single room, And I had some nice, blister pack or whatever, and I put that on my heel. And then by the second day, it was so terrible. So I took a picture of it. I didn't get the blister. I didn't put the patch on the blister.
Oh,
So the second day, it was just getting worse and worse. So if you think you have a blister, get somebody to help you right away
yeah.
on the back of your heel, because it's almost impossible to get the thing on right. We learn. But it is,
Of
I
course.
recommend it to anyone. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Well, if you have more questions, perhaps you can send us your questions and we can continue the conversation about the Camino. But for now, I would like to thank Alessia and Melania for being with us today and making us feel as if we are there in the Apennines again. And I cannot wait to be there in April. Very much looking forward to experiencing it all over again. 25 years after I first visited Italy. I continue to be fascinated with the same area. So
Well, I think I can talk for Alessia too. The pleasure is all ours. So thank you for the opportunity.
It's really so. Yeah, it's really like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for coming today. It was just a great joy to share these lovely women with you, and we hope we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Grazie.
Grazie mille.
Grazie.
yeah, by the way,
Grazie a
we'll
voi.
visit another small village, Penabili, in March. So stay tuned. Penabili, and it's great living treasures, the people.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
Ciao a tutti.
Arrivederci.
Alessia, Melania, ciao.
Ciao. Arrivederci.
Ciao.